च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So in the last class, we have started our discussion on the 9th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. So we had an introduction along with the study of the first 2 verses of the 9th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. And this 9th chapter, as you know, it's termed as Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga. That it is a, the kingly knowledge. Raja Vidya, kingly knowledge, and Raja Guhya, a sovereign secret, a kingly secret. So whenever we use the word secret, that we have a wrong understanding. We feel that it's most probably has to do some very esoteric practices. So here, as we go through the chapter, we will find nothing of that sort. That any knowledge, as in the last class we were discussing, in short we can just have an idea that unless I have some curiosity for that knowledge, yearning, that if I am not yearning to have that knowledge naturally is secret for me. In that sense, all the universities are secret societies, because those who are going there for the studies already have attained some qualifications. They have already attained some qualifications and they have showing some interest. Yes, I have the qualification and I have the interest to study such and such subject, and then only the knowledge will be revealed to them. If just as a lay person, I just go and say I want to get admitted into some university courses, nuclear physics PhD I want to do. Also, no, you are not allowed, because you may show your interest, but you don't have the qualification, the necessary qualification you don't have. So in that sense, that knowledge is secret for the lay person. So here also we will find the same idea has been mentioned. It is not in as such limited for a few members of particular some esoteric society, no, nothing like that. It's an open knowledge. But we will find most of us in our day-to-day life that how many people are interested as far as the spiritual knowledge is concerned. They're quite happy with the secular way of life, going for job, earning money, looking after the family, having some social engagement. There the life ends. If you don't have interest, then that knowledge remains secret. So in the very first verse, we will find the word anasuya. That Krishna is saying that this secret knowledge I am divulging to you. I am revealing it to you because you are anasuya. Anasuya, that what it means? It's a bit technical term. Literally it means no, you are not inimical towards me. But are we inimical towards God? No, we are also not inimical. So we have to understand the word not just in its literal meaning, what it actually implies. It implies that you are not inimical towards me in a sense that suppose we are friends. We are friends as per our day-to-day life is concerned, but suddenly the friend starts speaking, nowadays I got interested in some new subject. It has to do with the spirituality. So though you are my friend, immediately the other person, if he is not interested at all, will stop. Enough of it. I am in no way interested in that. So you are not inimical, but as per that topic is concerned, you show total disrespect to his this new adventure, to show total disregard for that. So in that sense, the word anasuya has been used. That when Krishna is going to instruct Arjuna in this a particular this knowledge of the self, Arjuna has totally dedicated himself to Krishna. That he has mentioned, when the second chapter we found that what was Arjuna's standpoint, that I am bewildered, but at the same time I have faith in you. I resign myself to you. Please instruct me, because I have total faith in you. Whatever you say, I know it is going to be beneficial for me. With that type of attitude, he has opened up. So that's why Sri Krishna finds that he has the total faith in me. And with this, as he has this faith, whatever I say, he may question me. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, we find it is a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. That you may question me. But the questioning can be of two types. What's the two type? One is called Vada, and another is called Vitanda. Vitanda means I outright reject it and start questioning in such a way that speaks of my disbelief. That I am challenging you. I have no faith on what you have said. In this type of argument, you can never come to the conclusion. Because you have already said that I don't believe. So you have already created your opinion. But there can be another type of questioning. What you said, I have faith in you. That you are the authority of this subject, I have faith in you. But I humbly accept the fact, that my level of understanding is not up to that. That's why I have some doubts. I am not questioning the authenticity of the subject which you are speaking, but at the same time I have some doubts. Then the questioning can be fruitful. It can take me to some conclusion. So if just for the sake of argument, at the very beginning, at the very outset, I say this is all rubbish, then the questioning is of no use. There, anyone, even the person of the knowledge at the very beginning, he will say it's a waste of time. Why should I waste my time with a person who is outright rejecting that knowledge? No need. If someone says, okay, there's some gap in understanding, let's discuss and try to clear my doubts, then the discussion is fruitful. So here also we will find it's not that Arjuna won't be questioning. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, we find that Arjuna, this entire Gita is nothing but the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna is putting forth so many questions. So here also Arjuna will be questioning, but that questioning is with that basic assumption that he has faith. He has faith in Krishna, that he never doubts him. So that whatever he says is going to do good for me, it's beneficial for me. It is going to help me out from this quagmire of all these confusions. But at the same time, as I don't have proper understanding, I am questioning. So that's the idea of Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. I hear and then I question with faith. So with faith I am questioning. That is Manana. So that's why Shraddha is a very important word in Vedanta. Shraddha. The faith in the words of your teacher, faith in the scriptures. Just as in the last class also we gave that example. When you go to a doctor, we go to the doctor with the same faith. I have no knowledge of the medical science, but I have faith in the doctor, that he has studied the medical science. The medical science, all the literature is a scripture for him. He has studied, that scripture is well researched, that whatever has been discovered in the medical science is well researched. Lot of case studies are there behind all their conclusions. So it's very authentic. And this is the person who has studied that and he has become the master on that subject. I know nothing of it. I just go with that simple faith. And whatever he prescribes, I resort to that, I take that, and I get cured. So the same thing, the same approach we have to have as per our spiritual. What to speak of spiritual knowledge? Even in our day-to-day secular science, that's what we are doing. As a very primary student, the entire scientific truth cannot be deduced to me. If a primary student says that how this all these scientific truths have been proven, just show it to me. It's impossible. He doesn't have that basic knowledge to understand the proof of all those scientific equations, of the scientific discoveries. At the beginning, he has to assume, he has to have that faith that these all scientists are all have done that this intensive research. It's a huge mass of knowledge which we have gathered through some authentic research work. As a student, as a primary student, we all have that faith It's not something just a trash. Let me start my journey. When I go to the graduation level or post-graduation level or the doctorate level, then these deductions will be something comprehensible for me. I can understand them. But at the beginning, we start with faith. So the same faith is required even in the spiritual journey. So that's what in the last class also we were joking that as a human being, we cannot stay without superstition. Swamiji is saying. What's the superstition? That so many things we don't understand, yet we believe. That's the superstition. In that sense, he's saying that we as a human being cannot stay without superstition. And then he's saying, but this modern superstition is more dangerous than the olden one. And then what he's saying, that if you say to a person that Vyasa has said such and such thing, Patanjali has said such and such thing, the rishis have said such and such thing, immediately I disbelieve them. And the moment I say that Newton has said such and such thing, Einstein has said such and such thing, and then Swamiji, in the words of Swamiji, I swallow it even without a pinch of salt. Just simply I swallow it. So that's also a type of superstition. So he's saying that we cannot stay without superstition. So then what he's saying, this superstition is worse. Why? Because all those knowledge with faith at last makes you equipped with the worldly way of living. You cannot at last find the meaning, the purpose of life, the spiritual dimension that doesn't open up. And as a result, it in no way can give you that ultimate fulfillment for which the entire humanity is in search for. They're all just patchworks. Just, I have such and such a little want. Yes, these are the discoveries that can help you to go beyond this want. It can have a very flourished nation. All this civilization is a well-packaged presentation to us. But inside the package, we find it's all hollow. At last, it's not giving me that final, that satisfaction, fulfillment, happiness. So that's why he's saying this superstition is more dangerous than the religious superstition. A person who has nothing to do with scientific knowledge, but somehow has faith in the spiritual truth, can at least equip him with all those skills in the form of meditation, in the form of faith, in the form of devotion, the skills with which he can face the challenges of life in a much better way. And that speaks of the resilience, the spiritual resilience. So that's why Swamiji is saying that this superstition is worse than this superstition. So whatever it is, so here the idea is that this is not in any way secret knowledge. It's a knowledge for all. Only thing we have to have faith. So this, if we are having no faith, then what happens? This thing we will find in the second verse what they mentioned. If you have faith and just follow my instruction, then the result is immediate. It's not that you have to wait. Immediate the result is. What's that? Pratyaksha avagamang. That, what's the immediate result? They say that real happiness lies in giving. Just give an example. And most of us will, in this materialistic world where the accumulation is the be-all and end-all of our existence. The more wealth I have, the more I enjoy. Why should I give? And a person says, just give, and that will give you immediate happiness. So most probably even he has no intention, but he follows that instruction. Okay, this person says, let me see. And he really finds the joy in giving. And that experience is something immediate. That example which we are giving, that I was in a residential school of Ramakrishna Mission in its administration for many years. And whenever we had celebrations, we used to make a list of duties, even for the students who were staying in the hostel. That when we are going to distribute all this prasadam, the consecrated food to all who have assembled today, this congregation. It's a huge, some 40,000, 50,000 people will be congregating. So we need a lot of volunteers. To distribute the food, we need a lot of volunteers. And we had sufficient volunteers. It was not that we needed the students also to be involved in that. But we thought, let them get the taste, the joy of giving. So we will make a duty list. Every year we had the same experience. At the beginning, they all will try to avoid. Oh, no, 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 what? That's a boring job, standing and just giving the food to people for hours. And it's quite laborious, because they have seen in the previous batch, the students after that day, for next few days, they will have the body ache because of that strenuous job. So they have experienced that. What they have seen is something which is feasible, that they have some physical ailment. But what they have not seen, the joy which they experience. So that's why when we first-hand experience, avoid, because it entails in a lot of physical uneasiness, some disease, your ease is gone, you feel some ache in your body. So then we used to always make it a point that it is mandatory, you have to. We are very strict about it. And now every year the same experience. Now it was just, we knew these boys are after all young, they are very tender, so we won't allow them to continue with this serving duty for long. Just 1 hour slot was given. After that, the volunteers will take over. And every year the volunteers will come and complain, these boys are not giving us. They want to continue. In 1 hour, suddenly they found that there is really a joy. People are just sitting, this serving, somehow through the serving they are developing a connection, and it gives an immense joy. Those who have done, they know. So if you just try to rationalize, it's very difficult. When you ask them, the act itself makes them feel that happiness. What happens actually? As Sri Ramakrishna says very nicely, that the ego is the barrier. That suppose in the ocean I dip a pot. The ocean has waves. The same ocean water has entered into the pot. Now I say this is the pot water. It's the same ocean water. The boundary of the pot has demarcated the ocean water from the same ocean water which has entered into the pot, and I say this is the pot water. This is me. This is the pot water. But actually I'm one with the eternal, all-permeating consciousness. But the ego has created the barrier, and when it creates the barrier, what happens? The external wave is in no way perturbing or disturbing the inside water, though it's the same water. This barrier has now separated it. So we will find that for most of us in this life, even something happens in the external world, we read the news with a cup of tea. It doesn't disturb us. The ego is very strong. It doesn't disturb us. We do sometimes go to the funeral and other as a sense of duty. Nothing as such really affects us. But it's not the same for a small child for whom the ego is still diffused. You'll find a very interesting thing. The children are playing. Suddenly one child falls, gets hurt and starts crying. I don't know whether you have experienced. If they're quite young, the others start crying too. All will start crying. It's a chorus crying. All start crying together. That's what very quickly they relate to the others' emotions, because the ego is yet to get crystallized, very diffused. I told you previously that example. I was in Northeast India for a long time. So we used to go to the interior villages to get the students. They were just first or second generation learners. So it's not that they will come to us. We had to go and just get the students. And we just previously told them that we will just take a preliminary test, that at least the alphabets they can write or the numerals they can write, that's much. And at the beginning I had no experience. I went, all the children were sitting in a room, and I gave them the papers and the pen, and suddenly one child started crying. Most probably got tensed at such tender age. Already you are making them sit for an examination, so started crying. And in no time, we found that the entire room, all have left their paper and the pen, and they're all crying together. And I couldn't take the exam. That day, and it was a 52 kilometers, and that also it's a mountainous terrain. I had to go back, and then the Secretary Maharaj, he told, oh, you're new, you don't know. You have to take a packet of this all toffees, lozenges and chocolates, and there should be 2 rooms. In one room the exam, and the next room is meant as isolation ward. It's isolation ward. If anyone cries, immediately pick him up, take him to the next room, give some toffee, make him stop. Otherwise, you cannot take exam. And that's what we had to do for the next of the period. I stayed there for another 3.5 years. So this is a wonderful experience. They very easily relate to the others' emotions. We don't, because our ego starts getting crystallized more and more. Our sympathy is almost like a duty. actually we are not empathetic, that it really doesn't, affect us. Why? The ego barrier gets strong. So the more the ego falls off, you will find very easily you are relating to the others. And that happens when you are giving. When the students unknowingly starts giving, immediately that the ego barrier is diffusing. And there's a joy in when you relate to that, what is this collective consciousness. In any way, when you're relating to the collective consciousness, it gives a tremendous, immense joy. And that they experience. And now they don't want to leave. And invariably they will get body pain as a side effect later on. But at that moment, at the spur of the moment, they are experiencing that joy. And that's being spoken of as pratyaksha vagama. That what spirituality I'm speaking of, it's not that you have to die and wait after your death, that as per your belief I will go to heaven. No, here itself, now, here and now you will experience the effect of it. So iha, that's why this word iha is so many times repeated in the Upanishads. And then what after death? They said no, even after death, the mantra, after the second mantra we studied, that pratyaksha avagamam dharmayam, and it speaks of dharma, that you are not going to enjoy some esoteric meditation at the cost of the society. Dharma means when I'm taking care of the collective goodness, I'm subordinating my individual, all the dharma, you will find is based on that principle, that whenever I have some desires, I have to fulfill the desires. There is no harm in it. I am not a very spiritually illumined soul. You will find that artha and this kama and artha, they are also the purusharthas. But they have to be guided by dharma. What's that? That's why I was trained as a student, as a brahmachari. What? That in my next phase of life, as a grihastha, I am entitled to enjoy the pleasures of life, the kama. I am entitled to acquire wealth, artha. But that has to be guided by dharma. And that dharma is not something just an academic knowledge. It has to be internalized. So all those values that has to be internalized, so that I develop that power of that integrity to keep my individual interest always subordinate to the collective interest. And that is dharma. So here Bhagavan is saying, this meditation which I am speaking of is not some package which you shouldn't divulge others who have not paid for this particular package. So it is something secret. Don't divulge. And with this, what will happen? You can easily cut off from life for some time. Enjoy the ecstasy of samadhi. You will find this type of religion has become very popular in the present day in the name of commercialization of religion. So here Bhagavan is saying nothing of that. You will be fully involved in the yoke of the life, engaged in it. Others will feel their life is terrific. But inner, this pratyaksha is something inner. Subjectively you will have the joy. You are not getting that joy by compromising your dharma. That's by forsaking your responsibilities, going to some forest or going to some seclusion and enjoying the bliss of all those practices, and at the cost of your involvement with the society. No, it is dharma. It is thinking of the collective goodness also. You are with your responsibilities. You are not running away from it. And still you are enjoying. I am going to speak of you of that dharma. And after death, what happens after death? So if you have Shraddha, you are going to get the result here and now, and after death also. This going and coming, in which you have no choice, you are forced. Because first you thought with your desires you are going to enjoy the world, and now you have got addicted. Sometimes you feel that I don't want any more. I am getting exhausted. It is repleting my energy. It is destroying my integrity. I want to avoid it. But this obsession which I have developed, the compulsions which I have developed, that forces me, not only in this life, they drag me down again to this physical plane of existence, birth after birth, as per my samskaras. So if you believe what I am going to say, immediately you are going to get happiness. Not only that, you are going to get freed from that cycle of birth and death, and that's the idea of liberation in Vedanta. So that's what has been spoken of in the next mantra, which we are going to study now. What's this? Asraddha dhana purusha. Dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mang nivartante mrityu sangsara vartmani. This, those who don't have this Shraddha, asraddhadhana purusha. So persons without this Shraddha, this technical term, as we were saying again and again, that faith, that total, what you say, this this disputable faith, total surrender to the one who is a realized soul or who is the incarnation of the divine. I have faith in him, I open up to him, I am ready. Just we will find even in the Bible a very nice instruction. A rich man comes to Jesus and says that I also want to follow your path, the path of happiness. And Jesus' instruction, what is there? Okay, just distribute all your wealth to the poor and follow me. No Shraddha. He said, how is it possible? Immediately he leaves Jesus. No, enough. You be happy. Enough of that. Not for me. That's not for me. So what's that? No Shraddha. So if you have Shraddha, my words can be very challenging. You may feel that it doesn't in any way appeal to your common sense. But if you have Shraddha, then know it for certain it is going to give you eternal life. So that's the thing. That's why after seeing that immediately when it was told that what says these words, you will find this all the these founders of the religion. They are speaking almost the same truth as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Shekhane, when you reach there, all the fox howls in the same manner. Shekhane shob shealer akra. In the forest, when one fox howls, immediately you will find the entire forest is reverberating with the echo of all the foxes who have started doing kirtan. As kirtana starts, all will be howling together. So that's the thing Sri Ramakrishna is saying, that there, when you reach there, all the fox howls in the same manner. This you find the crux of the teaching of the Jesus. So nice. When he heard that, when he told that person, that rich man left him, he was totally disappointed. I have to distribute my wealth and follow him. He was disappointed. He left. And then Jesus says, it is easier for a camel to enter through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to the heaven. That's the thing he's saying. What's the thing? This Shraddha. Again, this as to highlight this word Shraddha, I'm just bringing these examples. Shraddha. So if you have faith, then for you, that in this life, as a cash down payment, immediately, as an advance, you get happiness in each and every activity of life. But this is just the advance given to you. Your eternity is waiting for you. You are going to get rid of this forceful transmigratory process. If the transmigratory process was something of my own choice, it would have been a happy journey. But it is forceful. I will be dragged to it. I have no choice in what type of birth I am going to take. I am to take birth. I will be forced sometimes to happiness. Sometimes I will be dejected to some very extremely challenging situations, suffering. I have no choice on that. So to get rid of this, to enjoy the perpetual bliss of being established in the self and not have to come down to this world of suffering, that's the thing I assure you is going to be your the destiny of your eternity. So that's the thing he's saying. Asraddhadhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mang nivartante. Without faith, you won't attain me, and if you don't attain me, whenever Bhagavan is saying me, he is identified with his spiritual dimension of his existence, which is even the dimension of our existence. We are not aware. He is aware of that. And from identifying himself from that awareness, he is using the word me. When you attain me, when you attain that state of awareness, then sometimes this word me can be used in the sense of egolessness. When I'm saying me, it is not this limited body-mind complex. It is a spiritual dimension of existence with which I have identified. So there is no trace of ego there when you have attained that. And then you know it for certain, there is no birth and death for you. This forceful transmigration process is going to stop for you. So this samsara, this mrityu, you are going to go beyond that. So this, after saying this, now that Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya will start. But what is that secret knowledge? Which, if you have faith in that, which can liberate you, which can give you happiness here and now, in each and every moment of life, and after death, that can result in Atyantika Mukti, that liberation, for this final liberation, can take you beyond the cycle of birth and death. So, what's that knowledge? From the 4th verse, this Bhagavad Gita, the 9th chapter, 4th verse, this knowledge will be introduced. So, what they are saying, that God, though the creator of the universe, is unattached. This is very important. First, God will say that from me the entire creation has came, but I am not attached to it. So that's as a clue. Why he is saying this? This is Raja Vidya. This knowledge. It's a very kingly knowledge, supreme knowledge. And what has its result? What is the effect in our life? That after knowing that God, though the creator, preserver, destroyer of the entire creation, is not attached, and in essence, I am also that part, a speck of that divine. If I can identify with that speck of the divinity, I also, in essence, in no way associated with all the changes going on in this life. I am detached from it. And when I can identify myself in that knowledge, I also, like the Lord, is totally free from all the dualities of life. Nothing affects me, and that entails in the liberation. So this is the idea which gradually we will be going through these various verses to come to this conclusion. So now let's start in the 4th verse, what it is being said. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshvavasthitah. So what is Maya Tatam? This word Tatam means pervading. Tatam pervades. Maya, with me. Maya is by me. By me, the entire universe is pervaded. Idam, whatever you see. Whatever idam means this. It means whatever you see, whatever you perceive, it is all pervaded by me. It is me who has become this world. So this, when I say this word, have become this world, immediately again there will be a confusion. Oh, just like milk becoming yogurt, the Lord has as if become this world. This will be very naturally. When I say the Lord is not seen, He is imperceptible, He has become this world. That something which was not perceivable is now being perceived as this universe. So He has as if transformed. So that will be a wrong understanding. So that's why we will find there will be succeeding verses to where Bhagavan is trying to clarify the idea that what actually this pervading the universe means. That me becoming the entire universe means. So that he will come gradually. It's not transformation. It's superimposition. We will come through all the verses. This idea will become more and more clear to us. This Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. I have become everything. So as a cause, can you see me? No. It is unmanifested. Avyakta. Avyakta means manifested. Avyakta means unmanifested. Though I am the cause, but you cannot as such see me the way with your eyes you can see. Just the way I say that with there are so many gold ornaments in front of me, suppose. And someone asks, what is this? This is the necklace. What is this? This is the earring. This is the bracelet. And someone says, but in essence, what it is? I can see it's gold. With gold, everything is made. Only the name and the form and the utility. Some is used to adorn your hand. Some is used to be used around your neck. Some you will be bringing your ears. So as per the utility, as per the name and the form, the difference is there. In essence, everything is gold, and that's also visible. So when I say the Lord has become everything, in essence he should be visible. So he's saying no, in essence the thing with which this world is met, that is avyakta. You cannot see it. As in the Chandogya Upanishad, very nicely, we find Shvetaketu is being instructed by his father Aruni. And what he says, that this world is pervaded by the Lord and Lord alone. Then can I see him? No, you cannot see that essence. And when Shvetaketu couldn't understand, his father asked, there was a banyan tree, or Nyagrodha tree, whatever it is, this banyan, let us say it's a banyan tree. The banyan tree is such a huge tree, its seeds are very small, extremely tiny seeds. So now Aruni, the father, asked the son, go and bring one of the seeds to me. So yes, here is the seeds, sir. He brings the seed to the father. Break it. He broke it. What do you see there? Nothing. From that nothingness, this huge banyan tree has come out. From this huge banyan tree. So what you cannot perceive, from that this has came out. That's the idea. To that Upanishadic idea, the way even a child can understand. So these type of episodes and tales are there in the Upanishads. So from something imperceptible, this entire universe has been projected. So that's, I am Avyakta Murti. I am the one which is beyond all names and forms. I am the unmanifested. From where, but with that manifested thing, the entire thing is pervaded. That's the essence behind the entire existence. With that only this entire thing has been created. And then he's saying, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. The existence of the entire creation depends on me. Because of me, everything exists. But then, Na Chahang Teshvavasthita. But they are in me, but I am not in them. They are in me, but I am not in them. So what's the idea? So here you will find that, as we were saying, that here if we think these ideas as rubbish, all this it's just what you say, the play of language. That's what sometimes we feel. This, when we go to the scriptures, it becomes something very, very unclear to us. We say, these are all just mere playing with the words to befool us, and simply reject it, then no knowledge is possible. And if I say, most probably there is a gap in my understanding. It do mean something profound. Let me try to understand. And then these words will start revealing its real meaning to you. So just now, as we said, that when I say, anybody say that with this, everything has been created. We think that has transformed. The wood, this table has been constructed. That wood at last got transformed into this table. But has the God, when he is saying that I am pervading the entire universe, has the God really become everything? No. So in Vedanta, there is the idea of superimposition. And they give this example, which this example we give again and again. Suppose you are passing through the desert and you are thirsty. You see suddenly at a distance a huge reservoir. You start proceeding towards it, and suddenly you find it vanished. So what that reservoir is actually not there. It is because of delusion. It's the limitation of our senses which creates that delusion. I see a huge reservoir. So on which that existence of that reservoir is dependent upon? Upon the desert. As long as the desert is, I see. Though it's a delusion, I see that reservoir. Has the desert really become that? No. It is appearing. The desert is appearing as that reservoir. So this reservoir is something which is superimposed on the desert. Desert is the substratum on which that mirage is superimposed. So the entire creation, when we say is delusional, is actually that. It is the consciousness and consciousness alone which is appearing as this world of name and form. That consciousness, again, is beyond our perception. Why it's beyond our perception? In Vedanta, here in Bhagavad Gita, we are taking these verses, but there are so many analytical study in Vedanta which are really wonderful. That why the ultimate fundamental thing is imperceptible. We say the consciousness is the fundamental principle. Because of that, existence is that. But you cannot show it to me. Science, anything, whenever we have a scientific approach, what the science is? Unless it is perceptible, you have to reject it. But there is a very nice way of analysis in Vedanta, that the subject can never be known. Very interesting. In Dig Drishya Viveka, that idea comes. That what? when I'm seeing with my eyes the entire world, I see everything. Anything moving, anything having a different name and form, I see everything. But can I see my own eyes with my eyes? The same thing, this idea we find, one day Swami Vivekananda in the West was meditating, and a small child entered his room. It is a child who, when he grew up, in his reminiscences, he writes these nice incidents. And he never knew anything of meditation. But Swamiji attracted him. That seeing that serene figure sitting, he slowly entered the room, and finding Swamiji not responding in any way, as you know, the child always want to be noticed. They always want to be pampered. As he found that Swamiji is not noticing him at all, he gradually went near him, touched him, found no sensation. Then he crept onto his lap and sat on his lap. And now, naturally, Swamiji's eyes opened when he came and sat on his lap. So he looked very compassionately towards him. And now this child was eager. He has heard from his family member. He's a man of God. He communicates with God. He has seen God. That's how they can somehow explain the child what he is. So naturally, the first question this child asked, because he doesn't see God. And the family members have said that he has seen God. He's a man of God. So out of curiosity, the child asks, have you seen God? The moment he opens his eyes. Well, yes, I have seen God. And then he asked, can you show it to me? Means the way this, have you, the question was whether God is. He said, yes, God is. Can you show it to me? And then Swamiji replied, can you see your own eyes? And he never understood, but he remembered the reply. But he told, what's the reply? I asked whether God is. He said, yes. And then I asked, can you show it to me? He said, can you see your own eyes? And then as a elderly person, he writes these reminiscences. That the subject, with my eyes I can see everything. Can I see my own eyes? No. How I become aware of my eyes? Because of the mind. Whatever I see with my eyes, they all are processed by my mind. The mind, after all, sees the thing of this is just an external aperture. It's just like the lens of the camera. But behind that, in your mind, everything is processed, and then the vision. Because of the mind, now the mind becomes, when the mind is the subject, compared to that, now the eye becomes the object. Because of the mind, I know the existence of my eyes. So just see how Vedanta is rationalizing. And now the next thing, this is very interesting. Now what's going in your mind? Do you know that? Yes, we know that. Then someone must be seeing it. Here, with my eyes, what is there external as object? As the eye is there, that's why I can perceive. Though it cannot see itself. There's two things. I can perceive the other things, but I cannot see itself. The mind is seeing what is going on in the eyes. But at the same time, it can see itself for the thought. So that proves that there must be someone behind the mind who is observing the mind. Otherwise, how it can see itself? Now the question is, who is the one who is observing the mind? And then Vedanta says it cannot be known. Why? The ultimate subject. Because it's the ultimate subject. If you know who is behind the mind, then it will lead to, in logic they call it this ad infinitum. It's a defect in your way of analyzing. Ad infinitum. What happens? That if I somehow have that idea that the one who is witnessing the mind, someone must be witnessing him, then you cannot end. It will go on. So they say at last you have to stop, that he is the ultimate subject who cannot be known. Because of him, everything can be known. So it sometimes you may feel it's a bit perplexing, but it's not that perplexing. There are so many things by itself cannot be known. Can you know gravitation by itself? No. Only when Newton saw a falling object, then he became aware of gravitation. Unless there is a falling object, unless something is being attracted, these celestial bodies are attracted by one another. As such, is gravitation perceptible? Have you anyone seen gravitation as a thing? No. So only when it acts on some object, then I become aware of it. Has anyone seen light? No. Light is not visible. You say, no, the sky is so bright. It's because of the atmosphere in which the air is there, in which the light is falling, and then only what I am seeing is the uh, light falling on shining on an object, the air particles. If you go to space, it is totally dark. The sky will appear illumined with the stars, but there is no such radiance in the sky. It is totally dark. And if you go to the moon, even in the daytime, the moon's surface is bright, the sky is totally dark, and the sun is visible. But as there is no atmosphere, you cannot see light the way we see light. So light becomes visible only when, in a vacuum, if you just, light is propagated, nothing is, you cannot see there anything. So only when it falls on some particle, it starts shining, and then I become aware of light. Magnetism. An iron bar is placed, whether it is just an ordinary iron bar, it's a magnet. How to understand? Put some iron filings, it gets attracted, it forms a particular pattern. Oh, it's a magnet. Can have anyone seen magnetism? No. So the fundamental aspects of the thing, the more we go to the fundamental aspect, we find it is something imperceptible. But because of that, that's called tatastha lakshana. By seeing its effect on something else, I know its existence. So here when Vedanta says that consciousness is the ultimate thing, but it is avyakta, imperceptible. But because of this, everything is there. The idea is here of this superimposition. It is appearing as something, and then that's the word, the Maya comes. That what I am seeing is not real. Still, it becomes very difficult to believe that consciousness is appearing as this world. How can I believe? How can I believe this world of so tangible world has came out of something which is not matter, which is no thing? Means nothing means doesn't mean vacuum, means it means no thing. It is consciousness. It is not a thing of name and form. It is something pure consciousness. How is it possible? It's very difficult to understand. But we will say all our perceptions actually is fixed of no material world. That example which we gave again and again. When I'm seeing a red flower, actually what's there, I can never know. What I know is only the attributes, its redness, its shape, its smell, and all these are the constitutes of the mind. They are all the constitutes of the mind. Why? That redness is not there. Even science will say this redness is not there. Light is falling on the flower. This wavelength of light is falling. A particular wavelength is reflected. It has no color. It touches the retina. Very interesting. We say all the information is processed in the mind. Does the light enter your mind? No. It's totally dark. If you were there, it was totally dark. What has entered? When the light falls on your retina, immediately it gets converted. It stimulates your optic nerve. When it falls on the retina, the optic nerve is stimulated. And it's just like an electric current. It's of particular frequency, of particular pulsation. That's what is going to your brain. And all the colors are actually, the ideas of all the colors are all there lying dormant in your mind. It's there. It's not there outside. This particular wavelength of that nerve current stimulates the redness which is already in your mind, and that redness is projected by your mind to envelop that flower to make you feel this is red. Now, how the mind got projected? Does a person who has died, his mind can see it? No. As long as we are alive, the mind has already been activated by the consciousness, and then all the things which are dormant in it, they have the capacity to become manifest as per the stimulation. It's just like the computer. If it is not, this plug is not connected to the computer, what will happen? In spite of the fact everything is saved here, all the informations are there lying dormant there, I can never get any information out of it. First I have to plug in. So it's similarly like consciousness. The moment I plug in, now this computer, whatever is hidden in it, by using the keyboard, I can bring it out in the screen, isn't it? So this keyboard is like the stimulation, and the plug-in is like the consciousness, and this computer's hardware is like the mind. The same thing is happening. It's the conscious, because of the consciousness, this mind which with all its information is lying dormant, the external stimulation is actually enabling a particular information to be manifested from the mind, and it is projected, and that's how the world is created for us. What's there outside, in essence, we can never know. It's all the constitutes of the mind. So, and why saying this example? That at last, that it is a consciousness which is being projected through your mind in the world, in the name, into this world of name and form. Just the way the white light falling in a prism breaks into the spectrum of 7 colors. Not only 7 colors, there are infinite spectrum. We can see only the 7. There are so many spectrums which are ultraviolet, so many spectrums which are infrared, which we are not seeing. So there are some worlds which are visible, there are some worlds which are not visible. Even now in science they have started speaking of parallel universes. They say the dark matter constitutes the 3/4 of the reality, which is not visible. But they are also something manifested. They are also that as it is a dark matter, it is something avyakta murti, no. So something is there from which even the dark matter, all the spectrum which is not visible, and the visible spectrum, that has been projected because of the mind, because of the prism called mind. So this is being projected. But the essence is that unconsciousness, that is that consciousness which is not perceptible by the mind and the senses. That's why it's called avyakta murti. So what this is again, that this is saying that maya tatamidam, I as the consciousness is pervading everything. Matsthani sarva bhutani. Now this speaks of that superimposition, that I am in everything, means I have made everything, but I am not in them. What it speaks of? I am not in them. Just see, when anything is projected, that I see that huge reservoir when I am walking through the desert. So I know that this reservoir is the result of the desert, but it is not real transformation. The desert has not transformed into that reservoir. So what will happen? I can say that this desert, from this desert, this reservoir is the effect. It has came out. But does the reservoir has any effect on the desert? No. Can that reservoir drench even a single sand particle of the desert? No. It's a mere projection. So that's why it's saying that that cannot affect me, because it's a mere projection. It doesn't have the capacity to in any way affect me. As Sri Ramakrishna gives a very nice example. What he says? That it's the same sunlight in which 2 persons are doing 2 different things. A counterfeiter is counterfeiting coins. It's an evil act. And a holy person is reading the scriptures. Does the holy act of this religious person and the unholy act of this counterfeiter in any way affect the sun? No. Its duty is to give light unconditionally. It's giving to all. What we are doing with it is in no way going to affect the sunlight or the sun. It is going to affect? No. So in a simple way, Sri Ramakrishna explains that. So that though I am the creator, because of me everything exists, but our actions in no way affect the Lord. He is beyond that. It is the consciousness which is appearing as this avyakta murti, the entire world. I am one with that. So this is the wonderful idea we find has been explained in the 4th verse. Very interesting that we also gave that even in modern science we find the echo of this, that it is the consciousness alone. In quantum physics, many scientists are there who have started ascribing to this idea. That is, the consciousness is the ultimate, the fundamental entity, the fundamental, the only entity and the fundamental entity behind the entire creation. And this one of the very famous experiment that speaks, it is the consciousness alone which can define the reality. What is that? That experiment is called double slit experiment. So many times in previously also we have related to that. It's not very difficult to understand that what is a very interesting experiment. That when I see a solid atom, I know it's solid. Now let's break it. In science, with simple science, what's there? Electrons, neutrons, protons. Now whether electron is a very small particle, it's a minute particle, means almost it is something which we have never seen. Now they are saying that now at last this electron, is it an energy or is it a matter? So at last we find this strong table is made of atoms, And these atoms are again made of electrons, protons, neutrons. And these electrons, are they matter? Such a solid matter must have come out from matter. So let's try to find out this rudimentary particle in the form of electron. So how to find out whether it is a matter or it's a form of energy? Very nice. Suppose I am in my house, my window is open, okay? And some children are playing outside. In India it happens. And there is no, there is no ground. So in the street, they have somehow made some wicket with some bricks. And they're with a log of wood, that's their bat. And they are playing. And as in the street they are playing, someone strikes the ball and it enters through your window. Enters through your window. And that ball, of course, it's full of dirt and dust. It goes and strikes the opposite wall on the other side of the window. And there's a mark. There's a mark. So now it's a solid thing. So it will create a mark there, isn't it? Now instead of this, this ball, which is a solid thing, if someone splashes water through the window, will it create a spot? No. It will just splash out the entire wall, isn't it? That's what will happen. So water in the form of waves, when it is coming, the effect will be different. And when something solid is coming, the effect will be different. You will get a spot or you will get a splash. So now very interesting. What they did, they threw with an electron gun, they sprayed electrons through one aperture. In one wall, there is actually two aperture. One window was closed, another window was open. Through that, they sprayed the electrons. And behind that, these two apertures, two windows, of which one is closed, there is another wall. So now they saw, when we spray these electrons, this goes and creates as if a spot there. So then say, oh, then it must be electron. It must be something solid. That otherwise, how can it create a spot? It creates just a single spot. And then what they do, they open up both the apertures. And again, the electrons they spray the electrons. Now through both the windows it is going. So you are supposed to get two spots through windows, two are going, it will go and create. But instead of finding two spots, they find light and dark fringes. What it speaks of? Two waves. When two waves interact, if the top of one wave interacts with the top of another wave, it will be amplified. If the top of one wave is interacting with the bottom of another wave, it will be nullified. So that's what speaks of. Sometimes it is very bright, sometimes it is very dark. So now they were confused. When I am opening up both the windows, the electrons are appearing as an energy, as a wave. And when only one window is open, it is appearing as matter. So there's a probability. Is it a solid particle or is it just an energy? The scientists were confused. Now they did another experiment after that. Very interesting. They kept a camera, a witness, through which I can see what's going on in the second screen. And again they opened up both the windows and keeping a camera to see what's going on there. Let's see. We kept the camera just in between these two apparatus to see what's going on. And now again it's a marvel. Now instead of this dark and light fringes which fix the electrons or wave, they see two spots, just two spots. Now they were confused. What's happening? When someone is observing, the wave is becoming just spots, means matter. So it's a language of science. What's the language of science? When someone is observing, the probability collapses into reality. The reality is not there. It collapses into reality. So someone must be observing. That's why Brahma is called this apalakness. His eyes lid never fall, because if it falls once, gone. The entire creation is gone. There is a cosmic consciousness, cosmic intelligence. The consciousness appearing as a cosmic intelligence, which is observing this universe. That's the fundamental consciousness appearing. So even in science, we find the echo of this Vedanta. That's why Swami Vivekananda, when he was in the West, he found that the pillars of religions are falling, because this, as per the old beliefs in this, this biblical knowledge, the heliographic universe, that the earth is the center of the entire universe. And then Galileo finds out that we are just a small speck of dust in the entire universe. We are circulating around the sun, and the sun itself is circulating around in this galaxy Milky Way. It has its own path. So these things they started discovering. and they find that what's as such written in our scriptures are all falling apart. People were becoming more and more skeptical about it. So in this background, when Swamiji goes with the Vedantic background in his mind, he says a very interesting thing. We welcome all the discoveries of sciences. With that, all the superstitions, even in our religion, they of course will be smashed, they will fall off. But the essence will shine forth. The essence will shine forth. In all the religions, along with all the superstitions, there is something essence. You'll find everywhere. That will shine forth. And that's why it is most welcome. So you'll find this all slokas as we will proceed. Today, just in the 4th verse we got stuck up. But in the next few verses, the same idea will be reiterated. So there it will be easy for us to proceed with this idea. And because the examples which we are giving at present, we find this knowledge were intuitive. Swamiji says that what's the problem with Vedanta? A small child who is yet to develop vocabulary have experienced something. And now you will find he's trying with broad eyes. To his parents he's coming and trying to say so many things which makes no sense. But he doesn't have the vocabulary we have experienced. And that's what happened with the rishis. They have experienced something intuitively for which they have no such language to express. So that's why this a simple truth has to be spoken of with so many verses, one after other. You have to just connect them to get some idea out of it. So that's all these verses. That's why when you connect them, that's why this connectivity is very important. They are not something just a mere discrete slokas. Suddenly, just like the babbling of the child, it has been spoken of. No. Behind that, there's some experiences there which they're trying to speak through the words, and the words fail. They're trying their best. As Sri Ramakrishna, when someone asked Sri Ramakrishna that when you go to Samadhi, his disciples, young disciples asked him, can you please explain us that what are the various stages you are going through? The initial few stages he mentioned. There's the 5th stage, the 6th stage. And then at last, he went deep into the Samadhi. When he came back, in his simple words, he told very interesting thing. I was trying my best to relate to you about those final stages. But my mother, my divine mother, came and stifled my throat. He doesn't allow me. My gola chepe dhorech. He doesn't allow me to speak those. It cannot be spoken of. So that's the difficulty with all the avatars. They have related to something which they want to divulge, and they find the difficulty. But if we have faith and try to find out the meaning, it gives us a wonderful meaning, and that meaning gives us a motivation to pursue this path, so that it can also help us to go beyond this quagmire of this existence where we can never find any fulfillment. So with this, we stop our discussion today. We'll continue with the succeeding verses again in the next class. So thank you all. Namaskars. And there's an announcement. Next Sunday, I am not here. I'm going to Sydney.